I'm happy to go down this like nutrition road, but is this leading back to crop death somehow? Because like I want to address
it is. Are you going to let me speak, Michael, without interrupting me? Thank you. Thank you. Now, thank you. Now, no. Let me speak. Let me speak, Michael. Thank you.
I'm not going to. I'm going to say one thing first, and then I'll let you continue.
Yeah.
So if you're going to make claims that the vegan diet is bad, that's something I want to address. And if you want this discussion,
you and I, Michael, will have a nutrition debate later.
All right. So then, in the meantime, can we not make claims that we're not?
No, I have free speech, and I know that you don't like that, Michael. I know that you don't want me to be able to speak, but I want to be able to speak. You're going to have to deal with me speaking, Michael.
Hold on,
but I want to be able to address the argument.
Michael, you're going to have to deal with me speaking.
I'm happy to let you speak as long as I get to
Michael, you're going to have to let me speak. I'm going to have a say here.
Can I pause you both and ask
one question? Or we can shut this whole conversation down.
All right, we're live. How you doing, guys?
Doing well.
Yeah, doing great.
Awesome. Okay, so this talk is going to be 100% crop deaths. Who wants to start it off? Michael, do you want to ask Garland something, or Garland, do you want to start it off?
I'm easy. We all got lots to say, I'm sure, so we'll get to it all.
Let's let Michael go.
Well, okay. I didn't have anything prepared, so I was kind of just planning on going with the flow of the conversation. But I guess basically we're talking about crop deaths, by which we mean casualties of crop protection. That's kind of what we're talking about, right? Like when a farmer is growing crops, and they do something one of the methods that they take to ensure that their crops, their yield is optimized, they use like insecticides, rodenticides, fungicides, all this kind of stuff. And there's like hunting and things like this as well. It's all the stuff that farmers do to maximize the yield of their harvest that involve the killing of animals. That's like what we're talking about, correct?
Hold on. What we're talking about is any animal suffering and death that is associated with the cultivation of crops. It doesn't have to be crop protection. That is one category of crop deaths, but there are other categories of crop deaths outside of just crop protection, lethal crop protection measures. Okay.
And you want to talk about all of the above?
Correct.
Okay, fair enough. So sure. My general position is, as you've heard before, Garland, that
negative rights violations.
Right. Yeah, and so negative rights violations against sentient beings, of which most animals, at least the ones that we're talking about, certainly are.
Right.
I certainly value like mammals, like rodents, way more than insects. So if you want to, like, we can talk about insecticides and things like that, because I know the numbers go into the trillions, and it's really bad from that perspective. But I just personally I don't care that much. So I'm certainly happy to talk about it, but if you want to talk about stuff I care about more, the rodenticide thing is something that I've really been trying to learn more about lately. My general position is that animal ag is bad because it's very obvious, very brutal negative rights violations against the animals that are kind of victims of that system. Crop deaths, crop protection, animals killed in the harvest and whatever, some of that is accidental. And so I would say that there's sort of a very loose association.
It's not quite accidental.
Well, some of it is.
Right now we know that it's happening. And if you know that something happened, like every time you drive to the store, you run over 25 dogs. The first time it can be considered an accident, but after the 1,000th time that you run over 25 dogs on your way to the store, at that point, you know that it's no longer an accident. You could say that it's incidental, but before ahead of time that you're going to kill 25 dogs before you get back home.
Yeah, I think this is just a semantics thing because, yeah, I would say even if you killed 1 million every time you go, if you are not doing that each individual death intentionally, it's an accident. But I think that accident might be completely worth changing everything you do for.
Right.
So I don't think we need to debate the word accident, but it's an accident in the definition of the word accident, I think.
Yeah, so that would like factor into like maximizing utility or minimizing disutility, probably more important, which I also value just at a sort of a lower level than I value negative rights violations. So the animals that are sort of incidentally killed by the combine harvester is kind of the classic one a lot of people talk about. It's like that matters to me, but way less because it's not accidental than like rodenticide, the intentional poisoning of an animal, for instance.
Right. And so what I see, and I think that non-vegans and what percent of vegans will drop out in the first 2 years? Is it 84%?
What do you mean when you say vegan? Like somebody that subscribes to the philosophy?
Yeah, let's say someone.
I couldn't even imagine, but the diet similar to if somebody does keto.
What is it? 100%? 100% of vegans stick with it for life, or is
something
it less
like
than
that?
Oh, really?
The numbers depend on how long they've been vegan. If somebody's
do you have a source for that? Do you have a source for that?
I don't have
100% of vegans.
No. I think he was joking.
I was joking. But no, I think there's something like it matters how long you were vegan. If you were vegan for 2 years, there's like 98% chance you'll stay vegan. But anyways, the diet thing you're referring to, somebody being vegan in the same way that they tried Mediterranean and it didn't work out and they tried keto and then they go to plant-based. It's 84%, I believe.
Right. I think you're right. It's 84% of people who try veganism will drop out before the end of a 2-year period. I'm pretty sure that's what you're talking about.
But just so you know,
that number.
Me and Michael are not people that tried veganism. Me and Michael are people that subscribe
Michael
to
and
a
I.
lot.
Michael and I.
Actually, in that case where the R comes after the I, it wouldn't be. It's the other way around. It's complicated. It depends on if you can say the sentence with the I by itself. Anyways, we won't get into that. But yeah, me and Michael, I believe, I don't necessarily want to speak for Michael, but we aren't people that are trying the diet to see if the diet works. We are people that subscribe to the philosophy. I don't know if this really matters, if that's part of your point, if what you mean when you talk about vegans or veganism.
Well, yeah, where I'm going with this is that what vegans make up globally about 1% of the population. And then you've got the vegan activists, which represent some portion of that percentage that's outside that 84% that drop out within the first 2 years. So, and we've got a lot of long-term vegans that have come out later. Some of them after 3 years they drop out. 4 years, each person's a little bit genetically different, and so there's different genetic propensities to run into nutritional deficiencies that we know are caused by the vegan diet. So it might be 14 years for some people. In fact, I know that you actually interviewed an ex-vegan who dropped out after 14 years. I couldn't find that video on your channel. Maybe you took it down.
I'm happy to go down this nutrition road, but is this leading back to crop death somehow? Because I want to address. It
is. Are you going to let me speak, Michael, without interrupting me? Thank you. Thank you.
No.
Thank you. No. Let me speak. Let me speak, Michael. Thank you.
I'm going to say one thing first, and then I'll let you continue.
Yeah.
So if you're going to make claims that the vegan diet is bad, that's something I want to address. And if you want this discussion,
you and I, Michael, will have a nutrition debate later.
All right. So then, in the meantime, can we not make claims that we're not?
No, I have free speech, and I know that you don't like that, Michael. I know that you don't want me to be able to speak, but I want to be able to
address.
You're going to have to deal with me speaking, Michael.
Hold on,
but I
just
want to
due
be able
time,
to address
I am,
the argument.
I'm also
Michael, you're
cur-
going to have to deal with me speaking.
I'm
Okay, hold
happy
on,
to
hold
let
on.
you speak as long as I get to
Michael, you're
address
going
the
to have to
argument
let me
you make.
speak. I'm going to have
hold on.
a say here.
Can I pause you both and
Or
ask
we
one
can
question?
shut this whole conversation down.
Let's not shut it down. Let me just ask one question, because I am concerned as well. But sometimes things do circle back. Due to the time we each have 2 hours. Is this going to go back to crop deaths?
I have said multiple times
Okay,
that, yes,
great.
this is going
Okay,
back to crop deaths.
let's do it. Okay, go on.
Okay. So the percentage of the human race, including non-vegans, ex-vegans, and approximately 84% of current vegans, do not subscribe to your mental gymnastics, Michael, where you try to justify and rationalize crop deaths based on semantics of, well, yeah, we kill more animals, but it's not intentional, therefore it's okay that we do it.
What do you think my position is?
Carson, did you understand what I just said?
Yes, in a sense. I don't know if we should connect it to what other people might think of what Michael thinks. We could just each go over what we think and why we think something is right or wrong. Because somebody essentially might just not care about the deaths of any non-human animals, and somebody might care, and accidents might affect it. So we can just figure out why each individual thinks what they think.
Right. So here's an example of the mental gymnastics that you guys continue to engage in. Is that, for instance, on the one hand, honey is not vegan. We can all agree on that. However, when it comes to crop deaths, we don't care that much about insects. You have to pick one position or the other. What you're doing is you're straddling the barbed wire fence, okay? And as a result, it makes you look dishonest because you either care about insects or you don't. If you don't care about insects, then it doesn't matter whether or not you're harvesting honey from them or spraying them with poisons to kill them.
Okay.
You can't say that it's wrong to harvest honey from honeybees, but at the same time say it's okay if we drive all the pollinators towards extinction, including the honeybees. Why do you think that these honeybee keepers, these guys that actually have honeybee colonies, that they have to drive all over the country because crop farmers are hiring them to bring their honeybees in and pollinate the crops? Why do you think that's necessary? It's necessary because crop agriculture has killed off the majority of the pollinators. And so this idea that you can demonize the consumption of honey based on exploitation and at the same time support a crop agriculture that is driving all pollinator insects into extinction, that is called intellectual dishonesty. Okay? Mm-hmm. So either you have to pick one. Either you value insects or you don't. This business of you guys constantly saying we care about insects when it comes to honey, when it comes to the insecticides that produce the crops that are on the vegan menu, we don't care about those insects because those insects also include honeybees. So this is something that you guys need to stop doing, and it's one of the reasons why veganism is flatlining. You can't get more and more. It's like network marketing, where you've got these people at the top that benefit, and then there's this constant burn off of fuel, aka ex-vegans in this case.
Okay, well, let's not get into that. Let's just talk about what's right and wrong and how we feel about this. But I just want to point out there's different degree. Well, first of all, I want to point out that me and Michael, as you might have noticed, seem to be, as far as any vegans I've seen online, some of the only people willing to get into this crop death idea and talk about this and figure out in detail what we think is right or wrong. I've been talking recently a lot with people that have been agreeing and actually like cutting back their calories that they told me. Some guy on a stream that I don't even know from Belgium, I think, or Bulgaria, yesterday was telling me that because of hearing us talk about crop deaths, he actually downloaded Chronometer to track his calories just for moral reasons, not even for wanting to diet. And so, yes, there is some idea that over consuming stuff that causes crop deaths is a reason to look into that. And we're here to possibly hear your ideas. And if you are right and can share reasons with us, maybe even agree with you. So we're with you. We just need to break it down. I think we should take it one step at a time. And if you want to start with if you want to go the insect route and start with bees.
You didn't address what I said.
I know. I'm just wanting to point out something to you.
Yes, but I want you to address what I said.
True. Well, I'm going to stop talking and let Michael hop in. But if you want to pinpoint and talk about bees, I'm sure we're totally willing to do that. Even though I agree with Michael, I care less about insects, as we know by your
okay.
Awesome
Like I said,
video
you're going to have to. You guys have to pick a position.
Yep.
On insects, either they matter or they don't. Because
when
it comes to honey, which adds to our, it contributes to global
JD,
food security.
I'm going to answer you. I'm going to explain why it's not as simple as just picking.
This is why people think. Hold on. This is why veganism is becoming more and more perceived as a misanthropic.
There's no
cult.
this if you don't hear what this is. So just let me respond to you. I would not squish an ant. That I just
no.
You
gotta let him
know what I'm
Garland.
saying.
You're either
Just let me finish what I'm saying.
Squishing ants is different than spraying pesticides that kill ants.
Nutrition to get to your crop death things. Let him talk for a second.
Okay, I would not squish an ant intentionally, but if I was walking and I found out somebody told me I stepped on an ant accidentally, I would not care about that too much. So what I'm pointing out is it's not as simple as you care or you don't care. There are levels to things. But we are here to figure out with you more of where our level is. I'm hoping and thinking at the end of this conversation, at least I will have an even further extent of how I view my valuing of insects and rodents and birds and so on. So anyways, Michael, do you want to respond to what JD just said?
Yeah, well, unless you want to say something first, Garland, to address what Carson said.
I'll just repeat the fact that he did not address what I said.
Okay.
It's a distraction.
Well, I wanted to share something, and then I wanted to see if Michael wanted to respond to what you said. But anyways, it's all right. I'm not offended.
Yeah, I mean, I don't personally think it's a distraction. I think it's an important point that you can value something, but then you can have differential values about like it can be more wrong to like pluck the legs off of a bee for no reason. It can be more wrong to do that than to accidentally kill a bee. So like there's levels to, just because it's wrong we value a bee doesn't mean there's nothing we wouldn't ever do to a bee. So we value ourselves more than a bee. So it's like if we need a bee, for example, to be healthy and to live an optimal life, i.e. grow crops and not, if we didn't use insecticides, for example, we'd need to use more cropland to grow the same amount of food. So there'd be more like wildlife deforestation and things like that. So there's like an other side to the equation, right? And I don't know the empirics of how that works out. Like, I think do you disagree? Like, do farmers use it to get a better yield? If we got a worse yield, we'd have to have more cropland available to grow food on, and that would imply more deforestation to produce the same amount of food. Is that not coherent?
It makes perfect sense, and I think that you're not realizing it, but you're admitting that crop agriculture is destructive.
Well, yeah, of course. Like, yeah, we take land to grow the food that we need as humans to be healthy.
Right.
Yeah, of course it's destructive.
Yeah.
And like some of that is for animal agriculture. So animal agriculture's impact on that is destructive as well.
Yeah,
like,
5% of the crops are hay and alfalfa, and 36% of the corn is grown specifically for animals. But 64% of the corn is grown to be processed. And it's processed into ethanol, high fructose corn syrup. After the processing, you've got things like spent grains, distiller's corn, waste products that are inedible and indigestible by human beings.
Yeah, it's not
Unfortunately, those crop industries have learned to make a profit by selling those to livestock. My position is that the livestock industry should drop the crop industry and stop giving you guys business and stop supporting the crop industry. However, the crop industry has learned to make a profit from waste because it's largely
so that's not
indigestible.
waste, right?
Right. Well, yes, it is. If it doesn't go to livestock, it's waste.
Well, yeah. So it's made into oil and like meal, essentially, depending on what thing we're talking about for animal feed, right?
Yeah, per ounce, the oil is much more profitable per ounce than the meal. Now, think of this.
I did the calculations on this, Garland. It's actually pretty close.
As far as the profits, yes. Right now, the profits are very close. In fact, the oil is just a little bit more profitable right now.
Okay.
And tomorrow that might change because it's so close. But per ounce, Michael, which one is more profitable per ounce?
Well, you're talking about corn right now. So I have the math on soybeans.
Okay, look.
I don't have it on corn.
Do you know how much? Do you know? No, because I understand and I will admit to you that the overall profit is around a 50-50 margin. Okay. However, if you look at gold mining, for example, you might have to go through, say, 100 tons of earth to produce 1 ounce of gold. However, that earth can be sold as roadwork material. So you can actually take that earth that become a big mountain of earth that's left over after the gold is extracted and make a profit from that by selling it to highway departments around the country so that they can use it to maintain and build roads and highways. So in other words, if you've got 99% of the earth that's being dug up is earth and only 1% is gold, and you end up with a 50-50 margin, that doesn't mean that the earth is being dug up to produce material for roads. It's being dug up because per ounce, the gold is much, 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 much more valuable than an ounce of earth.
But in the case we're talking about of crops that are a combination use of being used for fuel, human consumption, and animal consumption, essentially, there's demand being driven from both sides of that, the animal and the human, and the ethanol side as well.
Michael.
So, well, let me finish. Yeah. So, given that's the case, the alternative, like if, let's just suppose that all of a sudden, like we do what you say, and farmers stop buying, soybean cakes or corn meal or whatever for livestock. What happens to those industries? Do you think that we grow the same amount of soybeans because we need soybeans and soybean oil? No, we grow more efficient crops that like canola, like palm, that have a better yield per acre of oil.
No, and here's why. Okay. And I've shown you this before. There are trillions and hundreds of trillions of grams of high quality animal protein that you would be omitting if you misanthropically removed all livestock from the earth. Okay?
Wait, that's not what I said, though.
No. Right. If you get rid of the livestock industry, then you've got to listen, Michael.
Okay.
Let me speak. If you get rid of livestock, you've got to replace that protein and all those nutrients.
This isn't
so this idea that we don't need soybeans for their oil, that we can move to something more sustainable or more efficient like palm oil, that what you're doing is you're being intellectually dishonest by saying that the oil is the only thing of value there, because the protein is also of value. You're going to have to replace all that animal protein, which means that you're going to have to, if you were to extract every gram of protein from all the soy grown in the world right now, it would be less than 1/4 the protein grams that are being supplied by all of the meat, dairy, fish, and eggs.
Sorry, what's that claim? Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. I didn't get the math. said 1/4 something.
If you remove all of the animal protein from the earth right now, then the soybean protein that's being produced, if you were to extract every gram of protein from every soybean in the world right now, then that would equal the amount of protein that would amount to less than 1/4 of the protein that's being supplied to the populations around the world currently by meat, fish, dairy, and eggs.
But soybeans aren't fed to fish. Like what? Why is that a relevant fact at all?
Soybean meal is fed to fish, but I'm talking about to farmed fish. Yes, they do feed soybeans. But what I'm saying is that for the human race, if you get rid of livestock, then you're going to be removing all of that. Let's see.
Like all those things eat other things though too. So it's not a fair comparison to just say if you remove all of the protein from meat, it's 4 times more than like all the soybeans. Like it's kind of an irrelevant. Like you'd have to sum up all of the feed, right?
No, we're not talking about the feed. We're talking about the protein right now that people are acquiring via meat, fish, dairy, and eggs.
Okay. I don't understand the relevance of what you're saying. Like what's
well, as a vegan, you don't understand the relevance of high quality protein. But what I'm saying is that the majority of the world does value high quality protein. And so if you're going to misanthropically and maliciously remove livestock from the picture, then all of that protein has to be replaced, Michael.
Okay.
And then some, because plant proteins have been shown to be low quality and difficult to digest.
Garland, what you said, okay, I just want to get back to the point, because what you said was you are in favor of not feeding crops to livestock, right? So I was just saying, okay, so let's just say we go with that. We don't feed crops to livestock or whatever. I was just saying, what happens to those industries, like the soybean industry? And I'm saying we wouldn't produce the same number of soybeans. Therefore, the demand for soy meal is impacting the amount of soybeans that are grown. That was my point. I wasn't saying anything about like, let's stop animal ag. That wasn't my point at all. Does that make sense?
I can show you where the soybean industry is trying to breed or genetically modify the soybeans so that they will produce more oil.
Okay.
There is no one trying to develop a soybean that produces more meal.
Okay.
So the driver is the oil. That's what's driving the soybean. In fact, I can show you news articles that are telling everyone that's what's driving the growth of the soybean industry right now is veganism.
Okay, well, hold on, because we're not all the same. Not all vegans agree on the same things. Most people tell me I'm not a vegan. Michael, do you want all this soybean oil?
From what I've seen, the nutritional value of like different seed oils is fairly like across the board pretty similar. So like whether it's canola or soy or vegetable or safflower or whatever, they're fairly.
Question
fairly
regarding
similar.
what you just said: which fat soluble vitamins are there in these oils that you're championing?
Which fat soluble vitamins? I'm not sure offhand. Why?
Okay, well, we get our fat soluble vitamins from fats. So, which fat soluble vitamins are being now? And before I continue, I want to call attention to this fact is that we're 30 minutes into this talk, and we have yet to talk about crop deaths. And this is
why is that, Garland?
And this is exactly why I wanted to talk to Reasonable Vegan on a one-on-one, yet he insists that Michael come in here and hold his hand because dude. Michael has pledged to debunk the relevance of crop deaths.
No.
So I want everyone to realize that the vegans, they don't care about the animals that suffer and die because of crops. what they want to do is they want to try to justify it. And that's what watch Michael. That is what he's here for today.
I think we should try to take each other at like with good faith, because
Carson, why won't you speak to me one-on-one regarding this issue? Why do you insist on bringing your little
I enjoy talking to Michael, and he's one of the only people I know that's actually interested in learning about crop deaths.
No, he's not. He's interested in trying to dismiss it as an issue.
No,
I've said
Michael
this to you multiple times.
He has emailed various professionals within farming to get people to talk to understand the details of how it works. We are both truly curious.
Well, then why aren't we talking about that? What we're doing Michael is trying to justify crop deaths based on negative rights. This is mental gymnastics. It's negative rights violations. Animal suffering and death does not matter.
Let me explain this to you.
We have to go back to the original question. Put all of this aside.
Not for a second.
Do insects matter or do they not?
That's not the original question, and I've already answered that, so I'm going to say something different. I'm going to say, look, we have differential stuff. Like, we need to eat, right? If we all agree that we prioritize our own lives ahead of other stuff.
No, we don't just need to eat. We need to eat to gain nutrients, Michael.
Yes. Okay,
pills are not a good way to get nutrients. That's been proven again and again.
Or do you want to talk crop deaths, Garland? Because I can talk.
Do you know how synthetic methylcobalamin is created?
Wait, Garland, please just let Michael finish. He's trying to get into crop deaths, and we need to take it one at a time and not add the extra details in. Let's just take each thing one at a time. But Michael, please finish.
Okay, I've kind of lost train of thought. Right. So if we want to survive, okay, that's my value. I do value myself. Oh, you disagree already? Is that
84% of vegans drop out within the first 2 years, Michael, because of health problems.
It has nothing to do with
health problems.
That's not even accurate. That's not even accurate.
Wait, let me pause. Are you guys both okay with us talking about the idea that some humans might not even care about their health? That's fine to not care about one's health. Now,
it's actually not. It's not.
Okay. But I don't want to make people legally have to care about their health.
If you care about your health, then you should not be responsible for subsidizing the medical care that goes into treating those people who don't care about their health. And our incomes are being taxed to fund those people who don't care about their health.
And we can be against that, but that's not what the conversation is about. We're trying to figure out, because me and Michael are two people that care about sentient, non-human animals in a way where we want to figure out, are we affecting them in a negative way by eating crops? So that's why we're talking about crop deaths. So we don't need to talk about
We're not talking about crop deaths.
We're trying to.
We want to. Me and Michael are trying, but you keep hopping to other topics.
Here's the deal.
We're not hopping to other topics. We were moving that direction, but Michael came in and said crop deaths don't matter because
I didn't say
these animals are dying, but they're not dying because of a negative rights violation,
you asked a question about
mental
gymnastics
and a misanthropic effort to distract from the death and destruction caused by the crop agriculture
do you want to hear my position
produces
or not,
the
Garland?
vegan
if
menu.
Not, I'm going to go.
Garland,
you should go, Michael. You should go.
Hold on, Michael, don't go. Michael, come back. Okay, JD. The problem is
you either want to learn about crop deaths or you don't. If you don't, then stop bringing. If you do, then stop bringing Michael on here to distract. Deal with me one-on-one like a man, and stop bringing him in to hold your hand and face me.
Yeah.
Don't bring someone, because look, tell me. Is there a difference between you and Michael?
Is there a difference? Yeah, we're different people.
Okay, and you value animal suffering and death, and he doesn't. He only values animal suffering and death when it's as a result of a negative rights violation. Correct?
No, not correct. He values it differently based on the negative rights violation. But no, he's actually
right. Well, most people don't play that game, Carson. Most people are not playing this BS game of, all these animals are dying because of these pesticides, but that's not a negative rights violation because they're trespassing on our property. And they're the ones that are guilty of a rights violation because they're trespassing.
Yeah, and I think...
Okay, is that your position, Carson?
It depends on the topic, but for the most part, no. Do
okay,
I think...
that's why you and I should be speaking, and Michael and I can speak in another forum where he can argue that those deaths and sufferings do not matter, because that's what he's for. Is to that is his sole purpose.
Yeah, and there might be a misunderstanding that I wanted to bring him on because I thought he would win something or whatever. I enjoy talking to Michael, and I enjoy talking to you.
If you wanted to learn about crop deaths, then you and I would have a one-on-one conversation rather than bringing in someone whose sole purpose is to try to dismiss or debunk crop deaths. That's his entire thing. He doesn't care about the animals. He cares about whether people are eating the animals or eating the honey. He doesn't care whenever, you can't eat honey. That's not vegan. But it's okay to poison those bees and kill them so that we have crops to eat.
Well, anyways, we don't need to
do you see the hateful and misanthropic nature of that position?
I don't think he holds that position.
He does hold that position.
Okay. Well, anyways, I'll let you talk to him about that at a different time. So let's just do me and you. Let's do it.
Good.
Okay. Do you want to start or you want me to start?
Go ahead and start.